Dan Bernstein Unfiltered. Unfiltered on 312 Sports.
Dan Bernstein Unfiltered on 312 Sports. I'm Dan Bernstein. That is Matt Abaticola, and the Thanksgiving holiday is approaching. Got my shopping to do today. Time to buy big bags of Brussels sprouts and a pound of bacon and garlic and one of those giant boxes of good chicken stock. I just need a little bit of salt and pepper, some olive oil, and some heat.
Hey, be careful on your garlic. It's been hard to find good garlic.
Really?
Yeah. If you come across garlic bulbs that are very, very white, and the bottoms don't have like the hairy threads on the bottom, hairy thread, don't buy those.
Why? I always was told tight and white.
No, if they're really, really white and the hair on the bottom is gone, those are
older,
been bleached and cleaned.
Oh,
you don't want those.
Okay,
find the ones that look dirty that have the parts on the bottom still.
Okay. Because I've gone to farmers markets and I've bought the garlic with the greens still on it of various freshnesses and softnesses. Okay.
Yeah, don't do that. I had to go to a couple stores to find fresh garlic.
Garlic snob.
Well,
love it. That's another level. No, there's some truth to it. There are some people that buy fresh or less dried. The stuff we get has been sitting forever in China somewhere. And
our farmers market in town, they have there's a farm that comes through, and all he has is garlic.
All garlic,
different types of garlic.
That's the next pod.
That's good stuff. The garlic talk,
the garlic podcast, all things garlic all the time.
I made my gravy last night.
Yeah,
I did my. I did my gravy in advance this year because it's too much day of.
Okay,
trying to get things going.
But how do you do it before you make the bird?
So I used bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. So it's a chicken gravy.
Chicken gravy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Oh man, is it good?
I bet it is. But it's not a turkey gravy.
It's not a turkey gravy, but it's good.
See, my mom will be. She's the gravy master.
Yeah, I find that with 20 plus people. And getting the food out on the counter and get it all set up to go, having the gravy going
smart
time of it's just too much.
Low stress. The way this Friday game is setting up, it's so great for us. It's so great for Bears fans to be able to have a leisurely actual Thanksgiving day and not have to worry about a Bears game and can have enough of a rooting interest in the Lions and the Packers to enjoy and feel strongly and all that, but then just kind of build. You can get your after we do our doorbustering in the morning on Friday, you can come home and you can have, like your washer dryer combos and the giant AI powered televisions and AI powered coffee makers, everything that you want to buy with all the superfluous artificial intelligence in it. The AI electric toothbrush, the AI hair dryers, and then you can sit and watch a little bit of Bears football. And what I'm going to be watching is the battle between Ben Johnson and Vic Fangio, because that's going to define this game. I know we're going to talk about personnel and we're going to look at injury reports and say who's where, and of course it matters, but I think the most exciting storyline is Ben against Vic. Vic's done this for a long time, and he's been a coordinator. He tried the head coach thing for 3 years, didn't go very well, and now he's in his comfort zone. He's got a big old fat Super Bowl championship ring on if he wants to wear it. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would want to wear a ring.
He seems like the guy that he doesn't know where it is right now.
Well, his wife knows where it is.
Like it's in a drawer somewhere.
His wife already took care of it and put it in the safe deposit box somewhere or in the home safe or wherever it is. So, yeah, he's not even where I don't know.
Or it's in the glove compartment of his car.
Wherever she put it, that's where it is. But he is really good at this. And when I say this, I mean what he does. This is not Brian Flores, but it is a test for very different, more subtle reasons. And to understand the nature of the Vic Fangio defense, you have to know what you can do at the NFL level that you can't do at any other level. It's really hard to do it collegiately because of the discipline and the athleticism, both that are required to create disguised coverages on the back end. He doesn't like to blitz very often because he would much rather deploy that manpower away from the line of scrimmage and have everything shored up behind and to trust that front four to get enough pressure to speed things up. What Vic wants to do is give you a pre-snap look. Even the smartest quarterbacks, even the most battle-tested quarterbacks, are going to walk up to that line of scrimmage and say, 52's the mic. That means this is this gap, this is this gap. The protection slides this way, and therefore these people are hot. 52, however, in Vic's mind, is not the mic. That was the read that he wanted you to make. And then, when you turn your back to the defense, if you are starting from center, by the time your eyes return to the field, you had the wrong mic. Somebody else is in that position, and now every gap is redefined, and the guy you thought was a hot receiver is covered. This is what his defense does. And to some extent, all NFL defenses do this. But the reason that it's specific to the NFL level, the ability to do this stuff really well, is because of the intelligence and the speed and quickness of the defenders that are being asked to stand in a place where they're not going to be and to hurry to their landmark as the quarterback is dropping back to pass. Or after they get the kill or the can and the play is changed. This is what I'm watching in this game Friday. I'm going to watch so much of what happens pre-snap and how many plays are killed. How many times does Caleb Williams go up and say, wrong look? But they baited you into that. They want you to go to your second play. And now, again, Ben Johnson's no idiot. This is not new to him. He's way ahead of me on all this stuff, and he better be, or the Bears are in some trouble. So we certainly assume that Ben Johnson has coached offenses against Vic Fangio before and or Vic Fangio disciples. He knows that this is the game that's played. So maybe there's multiple plays called. Maybe there's 3 plays that are called in the huddle instead of 2. And maybe one is kill and one is can. Or maybe there's another call that they have to say, my quarterback is going to be armed by the time he surveys the scene with more options. And he's going to have to sniff out a fake defense. He's going to have to sniff out a fake look and know in what you're going to catch them. This is the cat and mouse game. This is going to be a very material coaching game. And my belief is because Ben Johnson has never been a head coach and a play caller before at the same time, ever in his life, that I would say the advantage goes to Vic Fangio, who is up in his glass case of emotion and will be calmly looking down on everything and simply playing his game with little moving pieces like it's electric football. He doesn't. The emotion is removed from it for when you're up there. I mean, you still got your shouting assistants and everything behind you, but it's a different look. Ben is in it. Ben is down there. He's head coaching. He's pumping his fist. He's covering his face with the card, and he's going to have an understanding. So, what are we watching? We're watching the scripted plays. We're watching the first series or the first 2 series, depending on how long they last. It's really important to see if Johnson can get a leg up on not his direct counterpart, but his play calling counterpart by showing some things early. Make note of the formations and the plays the Bears run early and look and see what the goals are of those plays. And then later, not saying it even has to be after the half. It may be the very next series. When you see those same formations, wonder what else is coming. And this isn't necessarily what you'd refer to as a trick play. It may be something exotic, but it may simply be running out of the same formation that you passed from, passing out of the same formation from which you ran, or allowing for some of the run-pass option possibilities that give Caleb more control and more power. When we say this is a test of Williams, for all the good and the bad that we've seen, Vic Fangio's job is to lean into the bad, to test his accuracy in decision-making, which has been, from the start of the season through now, an open question, as everything else has been good. The Bears have been scoring a lot of points. It's been great. I don't think in this game the Bears can rely on causing the turnovers that they've been able to cause against lesser teams, because the Eagles really don't do that. Jalen Hurts, even though their offense is clunky right now, it's been a while since they've scored like 24 points. They haven't needed to score a ton of points, and they may in this game. They're certainly not perfect, but they take pretty good care of the ball, and I wouldn't go in counting on what the Bears have relied upon, and that is generating 1, 2, 3 extra possessions and extra opportunities with great field position per game to do that.
Yeah, I'm with you on the matchup of Ben and Vic, but I look more of it as Caleb versus Vic Fangio and his defense. It's going to be a great test, the most significant test for Caleb, for the coaching staff to understand how much he's progressed and improved.
I'm glad you said that, and I'll tell you why. Because for Ben to be able to respond to Vic, his quarterback
has to execute.
As he has said, not just has to execute, has to see the game through his eyes.
The quarterback seeing it through Ben's eyes.
Yep. And respond thusly. The communication has to be impeccable. I'm talking about through the headset. I'm talking about the moment he comes off the field. I'm talking in between, at halftime, before the game, right now. Right now, the communication needs to be impeccable, because I think Ben has a great idea of how he wants to attack Vic Fangio's defense.
Yep.
And it means what he's saying to Caleb is, dude, if you see this, if they start this way and you drop back and you look back and he's over here, this is the area we want to attack. Look for this first. Ben knows all this stuff. It's a matter of Caleb processing it and understanding it in real time, on time. We're not even at execution yet. We're just at comprehension. And this is quarterbacking. This is the speed at which it has to happen. Then once you realize we've been hunting this coverage, I'm using Ben's words. We got the coverage we've been hunting. I didn't think it was when I was standing at the line of scrimmage. We didn't see it right away, but now I'm at the top of my drop. I've just bounced off my back foot. And now I realize this is the coverage we wanted. It is that split second that could determine then the opportunity to execute. Then you got to be, and that is if all else goes well, and you have built yourself into the right spot, or you got him on something that your alignment maybe screwed them up. You're allowed to beat Vic you're allowed to win, but once you do, the quarterback's got to see it. It's got to be blocked, and then, and only then, does it come down to putting the ball in the right place. Then it's ball location.
Yeah, Vic Fangio's defenses give more post-snap movement than any other defense that Caleb will see this season. So there's going to be a lot required of him in the recognition and comprehension, as you say, to be able to execute the play they want to execute successfully. That goes back to also the communication within the huddle. If there are multiple plays called, to be able to communicate those in a timely fashion, to be able to get up to survey the field too, which is also going to be key pre-snap. And looking at it all, there's the question marks of what Caleb does well and what he still is improving on and learning from a coaching standpoint. This will be a great test for him when it's all said and done, for the coaches to sit down and say, all right, this is where we are, where we need to be. What's the differential there to it? I love the fact that Caleb has the confidence in himself I love the fact that he is able to let failure and one play wash off his back.
It's a great skill.
Get on to the next play, which is going to be huge in this game. And I think one thing that they did last week for the first time is had him under center in drop back opportunities more than in the shotgun. So he had more drop back opportunities under center than in the shotgun for the first time in his NFL career. That was deliberate getting into this game because having him under center using play action will also counter what Vic Fangio and his defense wants to do. That split second might be all that an NFL team needs. If you pause the defense for a split second,
spread the layers out a little bit. Yep.
That might help Caleb recognize, but he has to be able to process it in a timely fashion to be able to execute it. So we'll see if it all comes together. It's going to be a great, great battle for Caleb against Vic Fangio.
I always used to joke when you would watch a Tom Thibodeau coached Bulls team, and I'm sure also with the T-Wolves and the Knicks and everywhere else he's been, he has a physical tick during games where his right hand, this is Tom Thibodeau's right hand, it's hard to see sometimes, but if you sit behind him at a game, his right hand is shaking and moving in a strange way, as if he's controlling a joystick. It's the only thing I compare it to, is if he's like, it looks like he's kind of working a joystick or a gear shift with his right hand. And I always thought that is subconsciously, he's trying to move the pieces in the right spots. As he's yelling out things and pointing, and that right hand is constantly shaking and moving as if he's somehow, some part of his brain wants to literally, physically move the guys to where they're supposed to be. Like a video game. And I'm wondering if Ben Johnson isn't that, similarly, that kind of thinker in a way where he doesn't so much see the game as feel it. Mm-hmm. There are guys like that who are just naturally wired to have a spatial awareness of all 11 at all times, and to be able to feel the effect of a play action fake, to know the linebackers are here, and then to be like, oh, that. And I think Ben is closer to that than not, closer to that understanding of in real time, in these split seconds, it's slower to him. He can see things developing, happening, and knows exactly on which hitch, on which beat in the play the ball should be out on the way to somebody. And against really good teams and good defenses like this one is, that stuff's got to be on point with how the quarterback, how the person actually doing it can see it as much as possible like the coach does, because that's why certain plays are called. And somebody could say, of course, Bernstein, that's just football. That's every play. Yes and no. There are coaches who are more reactive and programmatically reactive than others. There are some offenses who say, look, we got a power run game that you just can't stop because it doesn't matter what defense you're in. You can do whatever you want. I don't care where you are. Because this guy's coming around, we're going to seal the backside, and we got numbers, and we just got too many hats, and we're going to block you into next week. And there's also going to be one-on-one situations where you can't cover this guy. I don't care what you're going to do, that you're not going to cover him, or you're going to get a pass interference, and we're going to be able to throw to this guy every time. And we're going to line up two guys on the side and pick one. It's not every single team that does this, but this, to me, shapes up like a game where they've got to solve a puzzle. This is one that there's going to be opportunities, but this is not a game for, well, you'd like to have that one back. Because once the playoffs start, that's why you lose.
Well, you don't necessarily lose because you have one play where you'd like to have back. It's when you have 5, 6, 7, 8 plays you wish you had back.
But I'm saying in the moment.
Yeah, I know.
In the moment
I get it.
Because we don't keep track of the direction a game would have gone had this play hit. I mentioned it because of the last game. Was it the last game or the one before? It was It was the last game with the early overthrows where you think, you hit on a couple. If those hit and you get points, like you're talking about a different football game.
Right.
You can't have, that was so close to working.
Right.
When it starts to matter, that's what defines the next level. Not beating whoever it is in the regular season because your third shot hit.
Right, and that's why the conversation about Caleb's accuracy has been so prominent this week, because they're 8-3.
Yeah.
And they're in a very good position to get into the playoffs. And you can't have that happen in playoff games because you're not going against Spencer Rattler and Frankenstein's Monster and Jackson Dart and Mason Rudolph and J.J. McCarthy. You're not facing those guys in the playoffs. You're going to face Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford and Jordan Love.
Jared Goff.
Those are the guys you're playing. You can't miss those. And that's why not just us, but you look around, any newspaper, any Bears media person, everyone's talking about it. The coaching staff, his teammates are talking about executing better offensively. That's what they're all talking about because they realize where they're at after 11 games. And looking at the Eagles at 8-3, they're 4-1 at home at Lincoln Financial Field. The only loss coming to the Denver Broncos, where they fell 21-17. They're 4-1 at home. They had that really ugly loss against the Cowboys last weekend, which was at AT&T Stadium. So they were up 21-0, lose 24-21, coming off that loss into this game. Prior to that, at Lincoln Financial, they beat the Lions 16-9. The week before that, they beat the Packers at Lambeau 10-7. They beat the Giants 38-20 at home. So they're coming off a game of a stretch of 3-1 with a really bad loss that they're still going to remember going into Friday's game to kind of exercise that taste from their mouths and that bad loss against a team that's 8-3 leading their division right now in the Bears.
If you need windows, there is one guy you got to call, and you know his name. His name is Russ Armstrong. And why do you want to call Russ Armstrong? Well, there's a good reason, because I knew you'd ask that. So I planned for you to ask that question. Russ Armstrong is the owner of Chicago Window Guys. See, that's what I was leading up to. And Chicago Window Guys is going to give you the best product with the best price guaranteed. It's that simple. Everything you hear from all these other window companies and all these national deals where they sort of subcontract local people and pretend to be local about buy one, get one free and 50% off, deal with Russ because he is in a position to explain exactly why those deals are not your best and why he will give you the best windows at the best price. And they are windows that are made here in Chicago, custom made for your home. He will come to your home to give you the estimate. And then when your windows are made, there's no subcontracted labor. Everybody in and around your house works for Russ. The same people that installed my windows and that are on the schedule right now to come and install the next round of windows, they're the same people that will be installing yours. And you can ask when you get quotes and say, hey, who's going to be in my house installing windows? Those other companies aren't going to know because they use subcontracted labor and they don't really know until they have them that day or that week. Russ has his guys. And all his windows have a lifetime guarantee with parts and labor. So if Junior breaks the glass playing catch in the front yard,
get rid of him.
First of all, get rid of Junior. Get somebody with accuracy.
A better arm.
With accuracy, ball placement. Russ will replace that window for free. You don't have to wait weeks on end for a replacement to come in from across the country because that factory is right here in Chicago. So get on it. If you want good windows, these double-paned, low-emissivity windows that will help your house stay warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer, old, cracked, falling apart, just plain broken windows, Russ at Chicago Window Guys has you covered. It's time because windows do make a difference. 847-302-9171. You can check out his 5-star reviews at ChicagoWindowGuys.com.
One last thing on the Eagles at 8-3, their differential.
Yes, the point differential.
Plus 112.
With them not scoring.
Right, with their offense kind of being sluggish throughout most of the year.
Yep. The CFP rankings came out, and it's kind of nice that I don't care. I don't care. I like watching the games, and I don't mind the drama of the rankings and all that. I know Dingus was sitting there with bated breath. He couldn't wait because the Seton Hall basketball game was on. He's like, get to the rankings. And Tulane, his school, is the 12 seed at the moment. Now, they could still lose in the American Conference Championship, and then I think whoever wins that is going to be in.
If we're one of the top 25 teams. So, I mean, there must be some really bad football played right now in college football. I watched this practice today. I think we're average.
That's Tulane head coach John Summerall, who is going to be headed to much greener pastures. And apparently, too, Lane Kiffin said he's going to announce Saturday what his deal is. So I don't know if he's going to Florida or if he's going to LSU. Everybody thinks he's going to LSU. Mm-hmm. That seems to be the belief. But it's just because if he were staying, wouldn't he say so?
You would think.
He's not staying. If he's clearly leaving.
Or maybe maybe he is staying, and this is just his way to toy with the time in between and the media and fans and
I don't know. As of right now, Ohio State's number 1. They've got a bye. Number 2, Indiana with a bye. Number 3, Texas A&M with a bye. Number 4, Georgia with a bye. And then it's Tulane against.
So that's not changing.
Tulane against the 5 seed Texas Tech. Notre Dame, Oklahoma looks like a really good game because Oklahoma's defense is real. Then it's the 11-6 game of Miami and Oregon, and then the 10-7 Alabama and Ole Miss. So if you have your arguments, go ahead and ask your difficult questions of who's who and who's where and scream and make your phone calls and make your posts. I have no rooting interest other than, Tulane getting in there and then getting stomped by whoever.
Well, I'm surprised if you look at the playoff rankings, Notre Dame's at 9 was stagnant after their dominant win over Syracuse.
It was like 70-7.
It was 70-7 over 3-8 Syracuse. And I was like, what more do they need to do to move higher in the rankings? They beat a 3-8 Syracuse team, Dan, 70-7. Like if anyone is if the college football gods are against Notre Dame and you didn't believe it, that's the proof that you need right there. They took down a 3-8 Syracuse team.
People don't understand sarcasm.
70-7, Dan. Yeah. Why were they not moved up into the top 3 at least? They beat Syracuse, Dan, who's 3-8. I mean, Notre Dame has no wins against top 10 ranked teams this year. Why wouldn't they be higher in the rankings?
Well, they're going to have to get past Oklahoma for the right to play Ohio State.
Well, they still have one more regular season game
as it stands
to
now.
show how dominant they are.
Is it a test for them?
Yeah, I think it's Stanford. And let me scroll down to find where Stanford might be ranked in college football this year. You talk. I have to scroll a bit.
I think they fired their coach, but it's a nice feeling to know that I can watch games and enjoy watching some future pros and not really have to care who wins or loses as long as the games are good and fun. I'm excited for that. Now,
yeah, Dan, it is Stanford. I want to make sure. And just checking here. Man, this is going to be tough. Notre Dame has a 96% chance to win that game. It's going to be a really, really tough showing, a tough matchup for Notre Dame, who's, I think they're giving, how many are they giving? Are they giving like 32 points? I swear to God, if they don't move up after beating Stanford, then just college football is out to get Notre Dame. I'm not here for it. Yes. It's bullshit.
I do have a vested interest in the Heisman because I remain a Heisman voter, and I like it. I like watching these guys for that reason. It's a weird year.
Are you still going to write me in?
Well,
for your vote?
Your guy, however,
he should be in there.
Your guy has, I think, a legitimate candidacy to be on the ballot.
Yeah.
And I am prohibited from giving any indications as to what my leanings are, but you can obviously look at current odds to get a sense of where the markets are believed to be on some of these names of who's had the so-called Heisman moments. I know your folks at Notre Dame are making a big case now for Jeremiah Love, the running back, because he's strung together some 100-plus yard games. But it has become in large part a quarterback's award, just because there's an understanding of the quarterback as a more important and far more difficult position. And it's just harder to find that guy, and that guy matters a lot more. It is a more valuable position, which generally means that when you're referring to the best player in a sport, it's going to come from that position unless there's something amazing and historic that is happening elsewhere. So obviously keeping a close eye. It's been, we have the front runner didn't have a game, and watching Julie Insane, or as when you listen to it, it sounds like Julie Insane when you listen to their broadcasts. Julie Insane. Why is she insane? What happened? What happened to Julie to make Julie insane? But we always talk about Heisman moments and Heisman years and whose year it is and who has taken one's team to a place that is, and nobody's punished for being good every year. Sustained success isn't a reason to take away from the efforts of any individual player, but obviously keeping a close eye, and the games are starting to matter, and gives me a reason to watch college football without that rooting interest. Because there's a lot of things in college football continually that sicken me. And I've got two more on that list that it was important to me to point out today.
Leave Notre Dame out of it, though.
This has nothing to do with Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. I think you said sicken me.
Although I will say that it's fascinating to watch their former coach, Brian Kelly, who was involved in killing a Notre Dame student, that he now is complaining that the lack of clarity in his firing from LSU is preventing him from getting other jobs, because nobody knows if he's actually fired or not. They haven't really had that discussion yet, so he's having trouble talking to other schools. That's bullshit. Your agent can handle all of that, and your agent, without you talking, your agent can say, "Look, we don't know what's going to happen. It's just a matter of how much he's going to get paid." And what they're saying now is, well, there's the offset language, and it's in the best interest of LSU to do this quicker, because then they can understand what their offset language is going to be. And if you prevent me from getting a job, it prevents you from having this giant this payout offset. It is really the grossest thing, where they're actually arguing. The coach is saying, you're better off firing me and giving me money so I can get another massive high-paying job that some booster is underwriting, so you can save money on the silly buyout you're paying me.
Right.
Like, what are we doing? That's it, and none of it is factually incorrect. A lot of that is actually kind of true, and yet it's just so obscene that's what we're talking about. That somebody who isn't really all that good at what he does is going to find yet another booster who cares too much about college football with this kind of disposable income, who is going to think that is money well spent. And I said this yesterday, and it makes me think about it even more now when we were talking about Matt Ishbia and Justin Ishbia. I'm going to get to those other two college football notes in a second here, because they do piss me off. But when we were talking about the behavior of Matt Ishbia and the lawsuits with the Suns, and what does this say about Justin Ishbia and the White Sox, let me just make this blanket statement.
If anything.
Let me make this blanket statement here.
Yep. And
I think I said something that until and unless Justin Ishbia's name pops up in any of these lawsuits or with any alleged misdeeds or wrongdoing or something shady, that you shouldn't really worry about it, I want to amend that. I think I'm going to make this official going forward. I'm going to presume that every billionaire sucks until proven otherwise. My default setting is all billionaires are inherently awful. That goes for the college boosters, and there's a subset of billionaires who want to be big strokers in sports. Billionaires who want to throw money around, not necessarily to help people, not even necessarily to build giant gleaming buildings with their name on it for whatever they think their legacy is going to be, not having read Ozymandias. That if the subset of billionaires that love being important in sports, they're more likely to be awful than the larger set, or have a higher percentage of awfulness than the larger set of billionaires. So I just want this clear. It's possible that there are billionaires who aren't awful. It is absolutely possible. But I'm going to presume that you are awful until I have reason to believe otherwise. There, I have stated my position. Now, back to these people in college football. If I said the name Art Briles to you, first thing that pops into mind when I say Art Briles.
You asking me?
I'm asking you. I say Art Briles.
Jerry Riles.
That's the wrong answer.
But that's the first thing that comes to my mind, though.
Okay. Well, I'm not asking you anymore.
Okay.
I rescind that request and that particular question. Art Briles was the head coach at Baylor when his players were committing violent crimes all over the campus. This was back in 2016, an external investigation. For years, the Baylor program was mishandling rape allegations, sexual assault allegations. And it was the school itself. I think it's when Ken Starr was in charge of the school. It wasn't just football players, but it was a lot of football players. Briles claimed that he never covered up reports of his assaults, but not only did he not cover them up, he never investigated them. He tried to not know about them in a way that he couldn't even be accused of covering them up because he refused to even pay attention to any of them. The blind eye of blind eyes, and allowing football players to run roughshod over campus, in Waco, and all over the place. And eventually, not only was he let go, he was blackballed from football, from college football entirely, to the point where he was coaching in Italy. His exile took him to coach American football in Italy. Scusi. And that's what he did, and he won Italian bowls or whatever they called their championship.
Like bowls of pasta. That's what you get.
Whatever they called it,
yeah.
They called it. And I hate to say this, but I told you this would happen. I said there was no doubt in my mind that Art Briles would coach again in American college football.
You did say that.
I said it. I said that all of the redemptive arcs of sports and everything. You can be the worst human being in the world, and sports will end up finding a place for you. And somehow, sports washing all of this stuff. Well, guess what? Art Briles is back. He was hired as the football coach at Eastern New Mexico. It is his first head coaching job.
I think they're playing Notre Dame next year.
Since he was fired. And they had the press conference. This is a D2 school in the Lone Star Conference. And he says, very excited, very grateful, very happy. It's a great moment for me. I hope it's a great moment for this university. I'm extremely excited to start this journey, this new chapter in our lives. Okay, well, let's play devil's advocate and say somehow human beings deserve second chances. They deserve redemption. They deserve opportunities to prove that they've evolved. They've learned. Okay, all good. When asked how different his perspective is 10 years after his last college season, Briles responded, I think I'm certainly a lot more knowledgeable about every situation. I don't know what the hell that means. You want to now get your barf bags out. Really, I'm just more concerned about the next chapter and not the last chapter. I've kind of learned through the process that a lot of times less said is best said. Because a lot of times you say stuff, it can be construed however anybody wants to look at it. Less said was what got you in trouble in the first place. Mm-hmm. You didn't say anything about any one of these accusations against your players, about anything. Less said was the entire reason for your exile. Not saying anything, not helping, not listening to victims, not believing sexual assault victims, other violent assault victims. Go through the litany of what happened on that campus on your watch. I don't know. I didn't see anything. I'm not asking. Less said. And how about this? Stuff can be construed however anybody wants to look at it. Like what? Like what? Stand in front of that victim. Pick one. And tell me what was misconstrued because you talk too much. Because your loose lips, that's what was getting you in trouble. Like what? What was construed, however anybody, how are you, this just smacks of somebody who believes it wasn't his fault, he wasn't fired fairly, and now he's getting back to his rightful place when the streets of Waco were just littered with victims. And even there, even Ken Starr, even as all of the protection mechanism at this university, hiding behind God and prayer and everything, they pulled out every play in the playbook. And Art Briles still was driven out of there. And remember then what happened? Briles was hired in 2022 as offensive coordinator at Grambling State. And then everybody asked the same questions. What the hell are you doing hiring this monster? And then eventually, 6 days later, he stepped down. Because everyone said, you hired who? What? And now he figures he's going to get into Lone Star Conference and Eastern New Mexico, and nobody's going to care. And they didn't, and they don't. And for him to stand there and say, I'm just concerned about the next chapter. I've kind of learned through the process, a lot of times less said is best said. You can say stuff, it can be construed. Would you get framed? People make all this up? I hope Art Briles' Thanksgiving culminates with him getting lost in the New Mexico desert and being chased by coyotes until he's eaten as slowly as possible. That would make my dinner taste better. Meanwhile...
You know what they say about loose lips?
That they sink ships.
No, they sink boats.
Oh, then be very, very careful.
Yes.
Meanwhile, in Happy Valley...
Oh, boy.
Did you see this?
I did.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it's widely known that Penn State's interim coach, Terry Smith, was wearing a button during the Nebraska game. A big old button. And left to right, it says 409. And then top to bottom, the O, the zero becomes a letter O with a J on top of it and an E underneath. It's Joe, as in Joe Paterno, crossing the number 409 for the number of wins and that they believe he rightly had before some were vacated. Because Joe Paterno spent decades turning a blind eye to child rape in the football building and on his campus. Child rape being perpetrated by his right hand, Jerry Sandusky. And despite his tortured and ever-changing claims to not have known, to not have understood, despite things like being told to him directly by Mike McQuarrie about the sounds that he heard of the noises made by the actual rape of children in the football program, people still want to go out of their way to try to honor the legacy of Joe Paterno. And you ask me why I'm happy when bad things happen to people who care about Penn State with their football team, when bad things happen to Penn State football, when those people can be made miserable by the bounce of a ball, that's the least of it. Because they're still doing it. They're still doing it. Because Joe Paterno's wins were vacated, then they were restored. The NCAA can do whatever it wants. I don't care. I don't care about what you want to say about the number of wins or national titles and all that stuff about football. What you should care about is that this guy that you're on, well, he was my coach. So You're allowed to change your mind when you realize that your coach was a career-long, knowing, choosing facilitator of child rape that was occurring because of football in the football building by his right-hand man. And you're standing there with a big shit-eating grin on your face, and that badge, you are wearing a badge to celebrate that guy. Brutal. For every one of Jerry Sandusky's victims, and there were a lot. And all you need to know about Penn State people is the ones that did come out and have the courage to say that they were raped and groomed and raped by Jerry Sandusky. They then were so vilified by Penn State fans in their schools, in their communities, that they've had to uproot and leave. Players, fans are saying, hire Terry Smith. Their team captain, Nick Dawkins, said they understood the meaning of the button. He said Smith played for Coach Paterno, and it's Penn State. We all know who Joe Paterno is and what he's done. Do you? I don't think you do, Nick.
No, I think they do know. They choose to not care about other parts of it.
It's still happening, and
I
won't die.
You know, if someone wants to support and protect child rape, I would prefer they'd wear buttons and signs so I know who they are.
Well,
so they're easily identified.
Well, add Terry Smith to the list because he could not be more proud to support the memory, and legacy, not of the victims. Not of the boys, the countless number of boys, not just the ones who were courageous enough to take an oath and testify and put Sandusky behind bars, but the countless others that through the Second Mile charity that was giving Joe Paterno all his tax breaks.
Yep.
Everything that they did hiding behind the Second Mile charity that was a victim farm. It was for Jerry Sandusky to find troubled boys in need, and groom them and rape them and have an endless supply of them because of the power of Penn State football. You are still standing on that sideline and still celebrating a facilitator of child rape. Why?
Yeah, I would hope that someone would be able to, an adult would be able to process mentally the difference between what he ignored and allowed to go on and pretend to not know. And then the other side of it is maybe the impact that he had on your life. And no one's disputing that or taking that away, and that's fair. And if he taught you things or you learned things about yourself through Joe Paterno being your coach, and that helped you develop as a person, as a man, which eventually led to the way you act as a father or a husband or an employee, whatever it might be, those things aren't taken away from what you've gained from that relationship, even with him as your football coach. But to go on the sideline and to still support the football record and the wins.
Not just when you finally get your opportunity, you're the interim coach, you finally know the cameras are on you. And you decide, hey, man, I'm going to wear this. You leave the house that day.
I'm not saying that you have to go out. And I'm not saying that Terry Smith would need to go out, get behind the microphones in front of the cameras and talk about Joe Paterno in a negative way. You don't have to do that. But to take this step to go support it is just taking all the victims and just suffocating and drowning everything they went through.
It's victimizing them again. Terry Smith, the interim head coach of Penn State football, chose to re-victimize these people.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah, because all it says is football wins are more important than what you went through. Football wins are more important than what he ignored and covered up and hid from and pretended to not know. Again, not taking away anything you had in that relationship and what it did to you or for you as a person. That's fine. You have that for the rest of your life. But you don't need to publicize the football aspect of it because of what it did to children.
And to not care about that is inhumane.
Yeah.
It is absolutely inhumane. And I thought at least this particular swamp, this particular little fetid corner of all the worst aspects of sports finally had been paved over. But no, it hasn't. It's still bubbling underneath. All of that evil is still bubbling underneath in Happy Valley, and until that place is somehow, when this planet is done existing and it spins off into the cosmos somewhere, I don't know what it's going to take to bury whatever evil is in those mountains there. But it's still there.
And one real quick note, and then you can move on. When it comes to hurting, molesting, raping children, I don't care what your school affiliation is or your political affiliation is. I don't care what your job is you've ever had, what good you may have done in the world outside of that. I don't care what title you own. Again, school, political. If you ever did, you deserve to be in jail, period. Mm-hmm. And every one of them, whoever hurt a child, molested a child for their own pleasure and fun, should all be in jail. I don't care who you are, what side of the aisle you were on, you all deserve to go away. So get it out there.
And don't redact it.
And put them all away.
And all of them.
All of them.
All of them?
I don't care who it is.
And if there happens to be a list of people involved, no redactions.
None. No redactions at all. And if it's your favorite president you ever had or one you hated the most, they all should go. Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, whether you were white or black, it doesn't matter. You raped kids.
Whether you're famous or not.
Right. All should go away. Every single one of them. And I'd be happy to even take guys I may have voted for in the past and drive them to jail for you.
It's one thing I've learned, though.
They all should go.
It's one thing I have learned over my long career, that it remains a controversial position to be against child rape and or sexual assault. It is a controversial stance to take. It's a hot take. Child rape bad. Who's this guy? What do you mean you don't like?
That's one of the few hot takes we'll get on this show.
What do you mean you don't like Penn State? You're a hater. If you are traveling this weekend, if you have family members traveling this weekend, there's a very good chance you can run into what nobody wants to experience on a flight. And that is the extremely drunk airline passenger. First of all, don't be that person. And second of all, it is not the flight you want to be on.
Drunk on a plane.
This is a story from LA Times. University of Texas at Dallas criminology professor Lynn Veritas analyzed years' worth of in-flight passenger incident reports. And when asked what the common theme was, her answer was alcohol, alcohol, alcohol. She and her colleague, Cheryl Skaggs, went through 1,600 complaints filed with the Aviation Safety Reporting System, breaking down reports about misbehaving passengers, categories: verbal abuse, physical violence, sexual harassment. Here's what she said. People getting into fights, people arguing with each other, not putting luggage away, not listening to directions, alcohol, sexual assault, sexual harassment, alcohol. The overwhelming thing reported in all these narratives was alcohol. And this does not come as a shock to anyone who's witnessed a badly behaved passenger up close. And this is both U.S. and U.K. They've had a ton of problems on Ryanair. Mm-hmm. Ryanair is the European discount flyer. And Ryanair really has democratized air travel in Europe in a way that, like Spirit and Southwest, you haven't quite here in a way that Ryanair has. And they found that it's been an enormous problem to the point where they're arguing about whose job it is to solve it. Because they're worried that airport bars are over-serving, and they don't care. That once you have a different set of laws and different jurisdictions and different ways of dealing with that drunken person, once they're on the plane, once they walk down that long bridge and get on the plane, everything changes. So the flight attendants are busy. They're trying to do their actual jobs. They're trying to serve food. They're trying to do safety checks. And these are highly trained pros who then are so disrupted because of the drunks. They've been saying, look, you can't kick somebody out of the bar. And it's getting difficult with flight attendants who, as they report to their employer, the employer is worried about scaring people away or putting in restrictions that are going to keep people off of their planes. But they're saying that drunk passengers can go from annoying to assaulting people to assaulting crew members to trying to undo doors. Just be careful when you're flying. And we're also having now, the administration is blaming passengers' behavior for their behavior. They're making it circular logic rather than saying that this is in large part due to increasing annoyances on planes and delays and being literally squeezed in your seat and the discomfort of air travel and the dehumanization of air travel, that they're saying, well, just dress better. Dress up nicer, make it more like it used to be when people would always get, put on a coat and tie to go fly. And
a pack of smokes.
And everybody's response is, no, it's hard enough just to get there and have to worry about the drunks on the planes. There may be some curbs on airport drinking. I don't know how they're going to do it because the airport bars exist to make money. And I know Ryanair has officially asked airport bars to impose curbs and to actually have some stronger laws talking about what the airport bar is responsible for and saying this person cannot get on a plane now because this person has been overserved.
You know the worst person to have on a plane drunk?
The pilot.
The pilot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's happened too.
Yes, it has.
But they're calling for 2 drink minimums, or 2 drink maximums. 2 drink minimums. Come on, have another.
Well, sir, if you don't have this second drink, you're off this plane.
All right, fine. Twist my arm.
Give me another bourbon.
Twist my arm. So they're
Bernstein Airlines, 2 drink minimum.
Come on in. Hey, all right, everybody. I did go to a place in New Orleans that had a 2 drink minimum. But I got a couple of those, like the hemp-derived
Hurricanes?
THC drinks.
You had like hurricanes.
No, I got because I with the hemp-derived drinks, I never quite know if they work or not. Like some kind of feel like they do, and some don't. But I figured, what the hell? Every drink was $18 anyway. So,
well, I'm really excited for Thanksgiving. We went to Binny's and I found the brand, that Lyres brand, Lyres, that I had on the Viking cruise.
Okay,
that's the non-alcoholic spirits.
Okay,
and to do a Negroni because they have the non-alcoholic gin and then the Italian bitter orange liqueur and then the vermouth, the non-alcoholic vermouth. I'm very excited to crack those open tomorrow.
So, as you know, the alcohol is one of the biggest money makers for airlines and airports. It's a huge revenue stream for them. Higher price seats in first and business class come with unlimited alcohol, as we know. And the LA Times asked, there's more than a dozen airports around the world from Sydney to Heathrow declined to state how much money they earn from alcohol sales. So it's going to be interesting to watch. The airports, the airlines themselves, the bar owners are incentivized to load everybody up. But then they get on the plane and they're no longer the bar's problem. So do you have the equivalent of a dram shop law? Do you have and meanwhile, speaking of dram shop laws, the Mark Sanchez story in Indianapolis has now dragged St. Elmo's Steakhouse into the fray.
Oh, really?
Yes, where the lawsuit is now alleging that there was...
I was waiting for that when we were talking about that story, waiting for that to happen. Because that's a, if I'm a lawyer for him, that's...
Follow the deep pockets.
One thing I'm doing, for sure.
The company that owns St. Elmo's is being sued because they believe they have evidence that at least one bartender knew to begin limiting Mark Sanchez's intake.
Oh boy!
So there could be some more liability here, but I guess the reason for this story is to say that everybody's aware that this is a problem. Don't be this person.
Yeah.
Be smart about it, and I best wishes with traveling. I hope you have a peaceful enough travel that you don't have to deal with one of these people, and I certainly hope it's not the pilot.
Yeah, it's one thing I never never did was get obnoxious and too like overly drunk on an airplane.
No, I'd have a couple and just play Angry Birds.
Yeah. Although the flight that the flight that I drank the most on ever, I can't remember where we were going as a show, but you, me, and Terry were on a flight.
Mm-hmm.
Mac, Yurko, Harry were on the same flight.
That was Miami.
Was that to Miami?
That was a wild flight.
So
everybody was on that flight. I think Rosner was on that flight, and that's when we were in the back.
I'm walking
and
to
she was giving us whatever we wanted.
I'm walking to the gate, and I walk past a bar, and Yurko and Harry were in the bar. So I walk in to say hello, and I'm immediately handed a shot of Crown Royal.
If you kept walking, Harry would have been in every bar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nobody was
all
able
at one time.
to figure out quite how the time-space continuum allowed
So,
that.
I go in and say hello. Before they even say anything, they hand me a shot of Crown Royal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and then there was a few of those. We get on the airplane. By the end of the flight, towards the end of the flight attendant told me and Terry and Yurko to go in the galley and just help ourselves because she was tired of serving us.
Yes.
And in a nice way. She wasn't like we weren't being obnoxious or assholes.
You guys are good.
She was like, fine, just go back there. I'm not doing this anymore. And I don't know if you remember.
It was like the cop in the town when they're taking off the nun masks.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that? And the cop looks at him, he just goes, just turns his head aside. Yeah.
We were walking up down the aisle, me and Yurko, and I was introducing him to everyone on the plane as Mike Golick.
Oh, I remember.
I was like, "Do you guys listen to Mike and Mike? This is Mike Golick." He's like, "I'm going to murder you. I'm going to kill you if you don't stop." I'm like, okay. Mike Golick here, everybody. Mike Golick.
That was
quite the plan.
That presaged. That was a bellwether for the remainder of that trip.
Yeah.
When your friends are throwing up on us and
oh yeah, my buddy Brian came down. Oh yeah. You ditched out when we went to Pink Pony, I think it was, and I think there was a
Pink Pony Club.
There was like $35 ATM charges for Uncle Terry.
He showed up drunk to the show the next day. Remember?
We kept him out late.
Yeah, he could barely speak when the show began. He snapped out of it pretty quick, but and that
plane ride though, that was
yeah. Do you remember also when
that was a fun
I was
trip.
driving you back on the causeway and you were lying on the back seat of the car singing at the top of your lungs?
I don't believe that.
And you wouldn't stop?
That never happened.
Okay. I must have dreamt it.
You must have dreamt it because hey, there were times I drove you and Terry around.
Oh,
so
I'm not. Don't
judge me, mister.
Hey, you had a terrific day. It all culminated in that Friday. That was yes, that was a
But that plane ride though that was fun. That was a good time. And I think at that time,
he was working here.
He wasn't. He was
working for the Loop.
He was working for but he wasn't. No. Damn it, Neil. It was Mac Yurko Harry show, and he wasn't drinking at that time.
He was suspended or
no. I don't. No. He was there for the Miami trip.
Right. Yeah, that was right. Yes, he was. He was there for the Miami trip. I was thinking
because that's actually the first time
Houston, I think.
He and I connected in Miami.
Yes.
We started hanging out a little bit, but he wasn't drinking at the time. So I remember just him. He was sitting like in a middle seat, and we were trying to egg him on, and he wanted nothing to do with us.
Wow, a rare good judgment.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun times.
Yeah. So, we do just so you know, tomorrow it's going to be worth your time to check out Dan Bernstein Unfiltered. We've got something for you. We do have a Thanksgiving special for you, and it's might go in a direction. There's some different directions that maybe you don't expect.
Yeah.
So I would make an appointment to make sure that you listen in. But for now, I'm just going to say, make sure your travel is safe and undisrupted. And I hope that you get
sober.
You get to where you're going, and whoever is coming to town with this 50-mile-an-hour winds and all the everything
it's chilly
going on out there. So.
Oh yeah, and by the way, if you're going out tonight, if you're listening to the show, this afternoon, later this morning.
Maybe you're already out listening.
And you're going out. Just be safe. Be smart. Get an Uber. Get a Lyft. Get a friend. Walk. Just be smart. I know a lot of people love going out on the Wednesday before.
You got a little Ed Farmer in you today.
It's always a big thing. Did I?
To all our Jewish friends, make sure you're safe on this. Passover.
Oh no, I didn't say Jewish friends. I just
everybody. Yeah. Sure.
No,
everybody
everyone else be safe. The Jewish friends, you can go do whatever you want.
Farmio always had the warning to the Jews. It was never an official holiday unless the invocation came from Rabbi Farmio, making sure everybody's safe as they drive home drunk from their seders.
Afternoon.
Okay, indeed. That'll do it for Dan Bernstein Unfiltered.
Dan Bernstein Unfiltered. Unfiltered on 312 Sports.